mean, there was a time where I'm like, yeah, I could do this forever. But the more that I got into it, the more that I realized being a part of this culture totally redefined what I actually thought success meant.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for our 2013 Top Elite Partner of the Year, Tasha.
Before we get started, for the lawyers, everything that I am sharing in this video is based on my own personal experiences, thoughts, and feelings. These are my interpretations of events as I have lived through them. My intention is to share my story honestly and respectfully without naming names or placing blame. This is simply my journey, and I hope it helps others who may relate in some way. I'm just gonna start from the beginning because times were so different back then, and there wasn't a lot of opportunity to be able to earn money from home. So this was back in 2014, really after I had Gretchen. I was looking for a way to make money from home, and I was desperate because I left my job. Childcare was so expensive. Dave was working 2 jobs, and I wanted to help out the family because I could see Dave couldn't keep doing this forever. And so I started looking for ways to make money from home. And I tried a lot of crazy stuff. I did consumer surveys. I tried donating my blood plasma, but I did not get accepted. I cleaned up the Google search engine, which I don't know if that was legit or if I ever got paid for it. But I was desperate. So then one day I saw a friend from high school. She had posted something on Facebook about how she was getting results with this program. She's putting people together in a group to do it together. And I had actually lost weight with that program before I even met David. And so I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. I need to lose the baby weight. I want to join her group. And so I got in her group and I realized, okay, she's doing these programs. She's sharing her experience. I literally was already doing that because the first time that I lost weight, I was a teacher. And so literally all the teachers were like, how are you doing it? What are you doing? I was literally, this is what I'm eating. These are the workouts that I'm doing.
And it was fun to share.
Yeah, but I wouldn't necessarily say I joined for the community. More than it was fun to share, it was easy for me to share because I got real results and it truly had already changed my life.
I would say, what was the surprising thing? Because obviously something kept you in it after you did the thing.
So I wasn't even in it yet.
Right.
That was my first kind of introduction. I was in my friend's group, and then there was a day where I realized oh my gosh, she's actually earning money by getting people in this group, getting them started with the programs. Yeah, I was already telling people what I was doing. Then they were going to the website, and now it's oh, I could actually make some commission. That's perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm sharing it anyway, and I need to make money from home. And so I literally sent her a message. I was like, sign me up. I did not ask a single question. I didn't need to know anything. I said, sign me up. And she said, there is a $15.95 fee every single month. And I said, that's fine. But if I cannot make that much money back to pay for it, I'm quitting in 4 weeks. That is literally what I said. But at the same time, I couldn't fail. My back was against the wall. I had to make money for the family. I'm like, I will do whatever I have to be, well, not whatever I have to. Okay. So then this, I feel like, was my real intro to network marketing. I don't even think I realized at the time it was network marketing. I don't even know if I really knew what network marketing was, but I also knew I had experiences in the past where I had gone to home parties for jewelry or skincare or whatever and supported friends that way. I didn't know you could also do it online. And I always thought, because I had been approached to do those things before, I don't want to do parties. I didn't want to sell something that didn't feel authentic to me just to make money. Cause I'm like the jewelry thing. I don't really wear a ton of jewelry. I don't want to commit to only selling this. Yeah. So this just made so much sense because I had lost 50 pounds, not once, but twice, because I lost it before even meeting David. And then after having Gretchen. And then that was when I signed up. So I'm like, I know it works. People are asking me left and right what I'm doing. I might as well get paid for it. And that honestly has always been how my business has been throughout most of the time at BODi. Yes, it changed a little bit, but I always focused on helping people get results first because I had my own results. So I signed up, and then I remember opening up my Facebook and it was I was added to 17 different groups and there was announcements and comments and notifications. And I was like, what the heck is going on? It was so overwhelming. And I was like, fine, whatever. I'm always one of those people. I'm just going to keep my blinders on. I'm going to do what I need to do. My goal here is to make money. The community was fun. And yes, I enjoyed that part of it, but that was not why I signed up. I literally signed up to make money through sales. So I signed up and all that happened. I think that was kind of my first experience of the culture. But like I said, it was easy and I needed to make money. And so I started sharing my journey. I started posting my results. And I signed up a lot of people to get started my very first month, more so than other people. In fact, I reached the rank of diamond, which is like the first rank technically, just with my own customers in 3 weeks. Like after there was a couple of weeks where I sat there and I did nothing because I was like, I'm in all these groups and I don't know what to do. I actually had to wait for like a training to start. But once I actually started, diamond rank is the top 1%. And it's like, I did that with my own customers who felt inspired by my results. That was when a lot of the love bombing and the recognition started happening because I didn't realize what I was doing was abnormal. Most people who even had been doing this for months didn't have sales like I did my first month. And I was consistent with that. I started to be on the top of all of these leaderboards every single month for our team because my sales were always so high. It was so natural. It was easy to talk about. I don't feel like I had to convince anyone. Yes, there were parts of my training where I had to message a lot of people and I always felt weird about that. But I always started with, you know what? I'm going to post my results. And if people reach out to me first, that's who I want to talk to. In fact, it's really funny because fast forward a couple of years, the way that I ended up building my business was because I didn't want to have to invite people that didn't want this. I wanted people to come to me because they felt inspired. I didn't want to beg anyone to sign up. I didn't want to feel desperate. And that I literally strategically built my business so that I didn't have to invite people. And I didn't realize until, 6, 7, 8 years down the line where it's like, yeah, people don't do that because they don't know how to do that. Or not everyone builds their business that way. Like you still need to be doing this because if you want your team to do it, you need to do it too. And I'm like, no, I literally built my business because that is cringy and gross and I don't want to do it. And even when I started recruiting my team and training them, I even told them in the beginning, you're probably going to have to talk to people, but that's not the goal. Number one, you cannot build a business with family and friends. Number two, you need to grow your circle. Number three, I know you don't want to be doing this, so let's help you build a business on social media where you have people coming to you. You know what's actually interesting is when Beachbody changed the name, and I'm going to talk about this later, but when they changed the name was really when everything changed because so many of us signed up for Beachbody, which was hardcore, do insanity, get results, be the best you can be, push yourself, show up, hardcore, you can do this. And then BODi, the name change, with the name change, it came, health esteem, eat more desserts. This is for so many of us that signed up for this one thing were no longer aligned with that's not why I joined this. I joined this because I wanted to be hardcore. A lot of us were the people that were doing P90X and Insanity, which were the hardcore programs.
Well, when it comes down to it, sounds like a huge culture shift.
It was. That was when everything started to change. But let me go back to the beginning because it was still fun in the beginning. And I'm really glad I had this experience. And there were some people on my team that I love and I still talk to today. And I'm actually friends with them. We know each other's kids. We send each other Christmas cards. We talk about non-Beachbody things together. And so I feel really grateful for that. And I've met a lot of really amazing people that have strong work ethics, are very smart, very sharp. And so I know people have this one perception of network marketing. And I know in it, you have a whole other perception also because it's kind of an echo chamber. I feel kind of in the middle because I kind of see both sides. So as I started getting results in my business, as I reached that first rank and I started being recognized, I also started to see what other leaders on my team were doing. And I saw, there are people that both the husband and wife do it together or nobody works outside of the home. And that's what I wanted. And I didn't want to bring Dave home from work just because it's I did this thing in my business. We are very family oriented. That's part of our religion too. We are all about family. The family is the center of everything. And I knew if there was a way for both of us to be home with our kids, even if we were working, if we got to be there, that was what I wanted. And I saw Dave, working 2 jobs. So when I first started, I was like, okay, maybe this will help him be able to quit that second job. And we're both bringing in income. But as my business started to grow and as I saw what other people were doing and the success that I was having, I actually saw that, oh wait, if they're doing that, I could probably do that too. I've always been an overachiever. I was valedictorian. I always go above and beyond. I always try to be the best at whatever I do. And I know when I set my mind to something, I will do it. And it was hard getting there. It was way more work than anyone ever tells you. I was working 12, 14-hour days. I was working all the time, but I had a purpose. I do not regret that at all because if I would not have put that much effort in, Dave would never have been able to stop being a cop. He switched careers during all of this as well. And when he became a cop, I didn't realize what it was like to be a wife of of a police officer. And I remember Dave going through the academy and then starting patrol. And this was why I worked so hard to build my business, is because I remember Dave's, one of his very first shifts working patrol. And I was tucking Gretchen in, and she was 4 maybe at the time, 3, 4 maybe. She was like, where's dad? Where's dad? Because she knew he had graduated the academy. The academy, that was rough time. But I was like, oh, dad's working. He actually works a night shift. So he works from, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So he'll be here and he'll get you out of bed. And I literally walked out of her room. And this was after there had just been like a mall shooting in the town where Dave is a police officer. And I literally walked out of her room and my stomach dropped. And I'm like, what if my husband doesn't come home from work? Like, it was like the most fear I had ever felt in my life. And then I thought to myself, I have this opportunity. I can make money from home. I know that there's no...
I could put my mind to it.
Yes. I knew like I could put my mind to it. There was no limit. Like I could make more money if I made more sales. That was how I always viewed my business, which is interesting because when you talk to people that do network marketing, they always talk about their team volume, all of this stuff. I always, even until the very last day, probably 95% of my income was my own personal sales and the customers that I was helping the whole time. So when I walked out of Gretchen's room, tucking her in, I was like, I need to go all in. I cannot live with this anxiety. My goal became, I don't want Dave being a cop. Like, we need to earn enough money doing this so that we can both be home.
So it felt very personal.
Yes.
It wasn't like this background goal setting.
It wasn't
bored, like lifestyle.
Yeah. I mean, it was interesting because there were parts of it where it's like, yeah, I want to do this. I want to be at the top. I want the recognition. You see these big summits with these girls wearing fancy dresses. And like, I wanted to do that. But at the same time, like my main motivation was getting my husband home, earning enough money so that we could have our whole family together all the time. So by that point in time, I was earning, between $1,500 and $2,500 a month. That was probably my first year and a half. I think around the time that I started, Gretchen was 1. And so I knew I did not want to go back to work. Like, I didn't want to leave her. But at the same time, and I hate saying this because there's nothing wrong with being a stay-at-home mom. It is what I have always wanted. And honestly, like, if I had to choose between leaving the house and having a career or being a full-time stay-at-home mom, I would choose staying home with my kids. But no shade against either one, because I want to do this, but I also want to do this. And I don't know how I can have both of them. And I saw this as a way where, yeah, I could still be here. I could still be present. I could work during nap time. I could work while my kids are asleep. I could work on something that's just for me. So when I think about it from that perspective, it's hard because I didn't see my identity as just a mom. I didn't. I think the other thing too is I didn't start this until Gretchen was a year old. And by that point, I was like, okay, she's on a routine. I feel more comfortable in my ability as a mom. Like, I had things down. And then it was like, okay, but what else? Is this just all I do forever? Like, obviously now that my kids are older, I know that it has definitely changed. And as you have more kids, it becomes harder and harder. I felt like something was missing. And I think with all women, we're all more than just moms. We're all more than just career women. We are multiple different things, but for some reason, we always just put ourselves into one bucket. And it's never talked about that you can be in all of these different buckets. You can be multifaceted, and that is okay. I signed up because I wanted something for me. I wanted to provide for my family, and I still wanted to be home with my kids. Now, keep in mind, this was back in 2015. No one was posting on Instagram. There was no such thing as an influencer. There was no affiliate marketing. There was no other way to make money from home. It was network marketing, and even then, it was It Works, Beachbody, Tupperware, Mary Kay, Avon. Oh, and then there was Advocare. I think that came in the mix after I had signed up. So there was not a lot of opportunity for this. I thought it was really cool and unique. It fit what I needed because here's the other thing. I graduated from college with a business degree in marketing and entrepreneurship. I know about businesses. I've known since I was a little girl that one day I'm going to do something big. I know I'm going to own a business. I know I don't ever want to work for anyone. And yeah, technically I wasn't working for myself, but I always knew that. I saw this as a really unique opportunity to have a business, essentially, do it on your own time, but not have to do any of that other back-end stuff that no one wants to do, like operations, customer service, inventory, accounting. I knew I did not have the capacity as a mom to do all of that business stuff and sell and marketing. And I couldn't do it by myself. And I didn't even have the resources to be able to do it by myself. I knew that I couldn't take that on. And so for me, I'm like, this is perfect. I can do something that I'm good at, something that feels natural. I don't have to do all of that other stuff. I had some control. This is going to be important for the very end of this series. I knew from day one that I did not own my business. I looked at the contract that I signed. I knew I did not own my customers. I knew that anyone that signed up with me was technically owned by Beachbody. I knew that I could not go into my Beachbody database and email people about something not related to Beachbody. I knew all of these things. So I didn't feel blindsided in the end when it all got taken away. Like I knew it the whole time. Yeah, it sucked, but it wasn't a surprise. I always knew it was a possibility. I was in a good place. So at the time when there wasn't all this other stuff, I actually thought that I found the perfect fit. I mean, there was a time where I'm like, yeah, I could do this forever. But the more that I got into it, the more that I realized being a part of this culture totally redefined what I actually thought success meant. I thought that I would be recognized for the people that I was bringing in and the sales that I was making because I was always recognized by that from my team. And everyone thought that was amazing because no one was able to bring in numbers like I did, especially as we got to year 5, 6, 7. I felt so good about the way that I was building my business because I saw the results that my customers were getting. And I, to this day, when I talk to them, when I see their results, like it makes me emotional because I've gone through that journey myself. And it wasn't until I got to the top, I became top coach, which for a lot of people seemed totally out of the blue. And it wasn't until I got there that I realized that was not what I was supposed to be doing. It was not what they thought I should be doing.